Welcome back to the lab, folks. Got a couple of packages here, and these both came from my friends over at ALiExpress. The main reason I got these is because you guys go out there and support me by buying stuff through ALiExpress on my affiliate link, which is fantastic. And what I have is here, I'll show you quickly. This is the T12 soldering iron, and this is the first thing I'm going to look at. And this here is a FNIRSI HRM-10 internal resistance tester. Let's have a look at these. So let's quickly look at this. These are not awfully complex devices, so it shouldn't take that long to go through both of them. Comes with a little manual, and it's got Chinese and English in it, and they're interspersed, so it's not two different sections of the manual. Comes with a tip, a handle, and oh, that cabling is nice. That cabling feels like it's silicone. It's very supple and nice. Yeah, a little grounding strap, and the unit itself. Nothing else in there. And here is the unit. It doesn't come with a power cord, so I guess you have to supply your own. I guess that's where your ground strap goes. Let's put it all together here and let's have a look at it. Typical T12 tip. This is a nice tip, by the way. Really nice for doing fine work. Now, I've never had one of these before, but I think there's not a lot to figuring out how to do this just from looking at it. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to kind of do all this with a hand on it here. I can't seem to get it to balance. So we'll turn it on. And okay, it's set at 300 degrees. The language is a little bit weird. I think if I remember from reading the manual there briefly while I was setting this up, if I go down to 8 here, that should be the language. And there we go. Alright, we can go back up here and exit. And we're set up at 300. My range is usually between 300 and 400. Let's just do a temperature check on it here. See what it comes up to. About 10 degrees low. Of course, that's good. Oh well, there it goes. So we can look at adjusting that. 400. Let's see what it says for 400. It comes up to temperature really quickly. It's already down, the power's down to about 10% already, so I imagine it's pretty well at temperature. So it looks like we should do a couple of small adjustments on the temperature. Let's do that. Let's go into the menu here and show you what's in there. Okay, you've got sleep time. That's the time before it falls asleep. I think 3 minutes is a little bit low, so I'll put that up to 5. The sleep temperature, 200 degrees, that's a bit high. This thing gets warm really quickly, so I'm going to bring this down to like maybe 150. Close time, that's the time I believe to turn the thing off. Yeah, 5 minutes doesn't seem right. I'm going to put this at about 30 minutes. Stepping, that's how many degrees between each detent on the decoder. 5's fine. A buzzer. Enable, I don't hear any buzzer. State mode, when you turn it on, whether you want to come up and sleep or ready to work. Unit switch, degrees C or degrees F. I like degrees C. Language, we already saw that. Tip adjust. Okay, so we want to go in here, we want to adjust 300 and 400. And it looks like those two have already had some adjustment to them. So it looked like what we need about 5 degrees more on the 300. And maybe what about 30 degrees more on the 400. Let's try that. And then you've got reset, so you can reset this back to factory defaults. And you got systems info. This is version 1, 2025, January 25th, so it's very recent. Now let's see if our temperature adjustments have helped at all. So we're at 400 degrees. It says we're at 400 degrees, so let's go down here and say if we get up to 400 degrees. We could cool that back another 10 degrees. I won't do that now. And let's see if our 300 degrees. Okay, so we're down to 300. Okay, so we're up to 305. 5 degrees is not that bad, but I'll tweak it again. This thing seems pretty good. I mean, it's doing the job. Let me get some water to dunk this in, and we'll see how quick it comes up to temperature. Okay, so dip it in here and cool it off. All right, that's cold. And let's get ready here. I've got a stopwatch, and I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do here, I got this piece of solder. I'm just gonna rest the solder up onto the tip here, and we're going to time it until it melts the solder. And we'll start our timing from the time it boots. So it takes a second or two to boot. Ready, get set. There we go. 20 seconds. That's a pretty good warm-up time, considering what it was like with the old HEOKO irons that I used to use. And before that, the old Weller ones, which you plug the iron in and go get a cup of coffee. For the price, you know, I think this is an amazing little unit. It's got a nice little power supply. You can tuck it away on your soldering desk somewhere. Very nice silicone wire here. Maybe I'll put it over on the vintage bench. Okay, let's have a look at the FNIRSI here. Here's the FNIRSI HRM-10 internal resistance tester. And let's get it opened up. Comes with a manual. It looks like we've got Chinese, English, is this Russian? That looks like Portuguese. Oh, that's an odd choice. And then in the box we've got Kelvin leads and a little USB charger. These are handy devices for matching up batteries for battery packs and stuff like that. If you're going to put batteries in parallel, even if they're in series, you want them all to have a similar sort of lifetime, similar sort of internal resistance, hold the same sort of voltage. This thing would be fantastic for that. Yeah. Let's get it hooked up and turned on. Turn it on, and okay, English would be my choice. And that's your normal display there. What it's giving us here is the voltage of the battery and its internal resistance. So let's look at, this is a very, very good battery. This is a Samsung. So 4.08 volts and 46 milliohms, 42 milliohms. All right, that's in around where it should be. Here's another very good one. These ones here are Ultracell, which I believe Ultracell is a British company. I don't know where they make these batteries, but they're pretty good batteries too. Yeah, so that one's in the range of good as well. Now these batteries here, glad I got this because I got to test these batteries. I was hoping to use these batteries in a battery pack, and these are very old Panasonic batteries. And they were in a battery for an old laptop that was new in the 1997 area. So these could be that old. In fact, I think they are. But look at that. But these are all within range. 1 second, I got another battery I want to test. This is for my dirt bike. Okay, that's what I would expect. This is a flooded glass matte battery, and that's right in the range. And it's got a good state of charge on it, which is great. Let me show you this. So if you click this, you can change the range, but I think leaving it in auto, unless it can't auto range, would I choose a range? But same with the resistance, you can change it. Now I long press this. Now we get into the system settings. So there's a sorting mode. That's the one I'm going to use for selecting these batteries. So if we go in here, you can see you can set up several different parameters. So you can an upper limit on voltage, lower limit on voltage. You can set the range, or you can leave it in auto, and then an upper limit on ohms and a lower limit on ohms. So we've got one is past those parameters anyway. And history records. So we've got a record of one pass. So it's very handy, and that can be exported to a PC. You can do a voltage calibration on it. And you can do the same with resistance. You can calibrate your resistance ranges as well. And what else have we got here? Volume setting. I've got it up at 100% right now, so I'm going to bring it down to 50%. Okay, and down the rest of the menu, we've got time setting. Would you look at that? It's correct. I guess I'm going to set it at the factory or something. Well, how would they know what time zone I'm in? Is that just by chance? All right, well, there you go. Brightness setting, language, auto power off. I guess I could set it to 30 minutes just in case I do walk away. And then factory default. I don't want to do that. And they do provide a method for updating the firmware. I think this is already at the latest firmware, but I will check that and update it if necessary. So yeah, firmware update. It's pretty easy to do. You just connect it to the computer with a type USB cable, long press the left button, which would be this one, and power on, and then it'll come up to an upgrade page. So, but it needs to be connected up to the USB-C to do that. It's very similar to some of their other devices, and it works like a charm. Before I sign off here, I want to have a look at what kind of waveform this thing produces. So I'm going to get a scope up on the screen and we'll have a look at that. All right, I just got this junky cable on it here. So we got a little bit, picking up a little bit of noise from around the lab. 60 cycle hum or something. So what kind of waveform does it use? All right, so it looks like it uses approximately 1 kilohertz sinusoidal-ish. Looks like a little bit square at the top and sinusoidal on the bottom. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but it is actually putting a signal in, and it is about 2 volts peak to peak. All right, folks, these two items, I like them a lot. This, I'm definitely going to get a lot of use out of this. This one here, I have a lot of irons. I think it's an excellent iron, and I'll leave links to these down below. They're both extremely affordable, and well, you know, with these tariffs and everything, I don't know. But have a look at them and consider them. The tips for these are extremely inexpensive, and you could buy a wide variety of tips too, because the T12 has been on the market for some time. All right. Okay, folks, thank you very much for coming out. Thank you guys for using my affiliate link, and that's the reason I get these things. And I hope you got something out of this, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye now.